there's that saying, ignorance is bliss. Every time I've heard it, I'm like, no, I personally don't want to live in the dark ages. And as I move through mysticism with clairs, which by the way are a completely different experience for a 5D person, because we know that there's not a plane that comes on earth, the dimensions, the depths of the whole duality, which instead 4D consistently continues to bring forth. And apparently they do prefer ignorance, because that's what people with silverbacks do. They don't learn how to use left and right mode and to discern actuality from mind's eye and storytelling. And so here's the thing. Storytelling is storytelling. I remember learning about the mythological Greeks. And although I did get raised with religion, I kind of knew also as a kid that it's something that has no picture. But of course, faith is something that is felt. And here's where shared consciousness, it's a sphere, it's a field. We have neuroscience, biology, we have academic individuals who are looking into it. And the 4D plane apparently, though, thinks artificial intelligence is monsters and are monsters, technology is monsters, science is monsters. Everything that leads us to advance as a species, apparently to the ancients, is monstrous and connected to the whole devil thing. Okay, so having the ability to know about subjective experience means you have the ability to use your left and right mode, which is I'm a human being, I was born, I came from a certain culture, I have a certain number of years of education, stuff that seems pretty straightforward. And when I meet 4D mystics who think they know everything because they have clairs, or the ones who think they're anointed, or the ones who keep talking about the special group, I began already being like, you do realize we're a big ball of energy. It's not the stories from the text of the ancient times, and those were written for the ancient times. Because see, if you like language, you understand that it goes through transformation. I forgot, I took a gender and language class in college in my political science degree, so maybe it's because of my degree that I'm educated. However, I meet people with degrees, and they're nowhere near as open-minded. Oh yes, that's right. They think you can actually open your mind enough for it to fall out. I forgot about that statement. And that one's a very fascinating one, especially when it's made by people who are in academia. Because I'm wondering, did you learn anything about how the research methodology works? Did you actually choose to go to school to learn, or did you go to school to prove a point? Oh yes, there's adaptive children. I forgot. So people who are functional adults, that's 5D. We have the ability to know, again, I have a subjective experience. Everything that I'm taking in, it's through my filter. My name's Maria, and I'm a human. And 4D seems to instead think that tarot or Akashic record readings or anything in that plane, oh yes, I forgot, they believe in curses. They believe that people can create a curse, and you know what cutting cords they do? That they don't realize when they're cutting cords, they're actually going against their own energy. So there's so many different ways that a 5D mystic could explain to a 4D mystic, you're still living in the duality plane, and yet you think you know everything because you got clairs. Apparently you didn't notice that we're in 2023, not in the medieval times, and you're not a witch, and you're not a sorcerer, and you're not any of those things that you might think you are or were, which is fine, because I was a sorcerer too. I do know the difference with what I'm seeing in my mind's eye to what I'm living. Oh, also because of clairs, which is really amazing. But again, neuroscience looks into it. Biology looks into it. The people who are studying stuff look into the quantum field, the Planck. And it's a sphere and field that is not in any way, shape, or form related to the whole heaven or hell. And the part about what people see, the demons and the devils, if only they got a hold of researchers that are actually continuing their empirical data, like Patrick McNamara, who explains how the brain works and the importance of REM for our species as an entire species. So I know that I'm pseudoscience and woo-woo lady, and I'm good with that because I also know how academia works. And again, ignorant is not bliss. No, ignorance is ignorance. There's a lot of ignorant people. Besides the 3D, 4D, just a whole buttload of people, whenever they're essentially being judgmental and looking at people that have intuitiveness. We all can have intuitiveness. Also, there's so much more that is being discussed when it comes to our embodied brain and our nervous system. And the fact that people continue to this day, I recently had somebody tell me that my panic attacks are due to me thinking too much. And I laugh every time I think about that one because I'm like, wow, that's just how much you don't want to use your freaking brain and go for being ignorant. I enjoy using my brain, and the fact that you don't have updated empirical data, which instead I do because I'm trauma informed and I know a lot of things, and you actually will make a statement like that, yet you're educated, makes me need to turn around, to be polite enough, to not look at somebody in the face and think, wow, what year are you living in? Because I know that I'm in the present, not in the past. So some people, they literally and figure, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss of words because I used to highly respect human beings and their intellect. Now I'm starting to say, maybe I was mistaken. And their blinders are way too thick. They seem to not really, in any way, shape, or form, notice the difference between data and story. And then data and story and subjective. Well, I do. I'm always rosy lady. So anything that crosses my way, I'm like, there's my magic wand. I transform it like a butterfly, but not with the torture that other people have. So long story short, back to Patrick McNamara, as he explains, when REM erupts in our daytime, what happens? And here's dissociation. Now, a 5D person does not dissociate the same way a 4D does. Why? Because they have the fear receptor, which is a little wonky. But it's not wonky because they can't handle it. It's because they don't turn within to start learning about how to self-regulate their actual nervous system. And here's the part about the nervous system is what I spoke. So I'm trauma-informed and somatic-informed. And I do know about my own panic attacks, for example, in my charged state. So we all have them. I know some people go, oh, no, we don't. No. Every one of us has the charged states, according to the science people. Now, if you want to believe stuff like the flat earthers do, go for it. I like to know what the science people are saying about our bodies and brains because I'm a smart human, not a dumb one who wants to believe in storytelling and be ignorant. So I'm not going to listen to the ignorant one who's using an ancient text that is, by the way, written, my gender and language class. You know how many words went through transformation? You know how annoying it is to see the dictionary police people? Because I know I was a perfectionist as a teenager, but I grew up to be an emotionally mature human being, flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable. That's FACES. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. And that's an integrated brain, which is not really hard for any human being to access if they start having access, though, to their emotional body. And let me go back to our nervous system, because lo and behold, your embodied brain, it's with the head and your body and your nervous system. And the first 18 months of life, if you were not safe in a way that was needing. Then we also have, by the way, transgenerational trauma. There are certain genes that play a role, but you're not a fixed diagnosis. In fact, your diagnosis is only a starting part of a journey that you can instead embark on and become, lo and behold, an integrated brain with a good therapist, or your willingness to learn about good therapy and a lot of more. Don't do the unfinished business. You know how many teenagers are doing unfinished business from their household with others? Their 3-year-old is a heartbroken 3-year-old. That's why they can't have compassion towards humanity, and they'd rather think somebody cursed me, or there's curses, or there's magic wands, and let me blame again the devil and the temptation of evil versus knowing about temptation and the whole shame cycle. The poor people who have inner critic, outer critic, then they get hooked on drugs, sex, because fucking and drugs and alcohol has made its way into Hollywood. I don't know how. I was a teenager. I'm like, really? This is popular? Okay, maybe. No, I don't know. I don't know. Because see, this is where intellectually speaking, it's all very unstimulating. So again, ignorance is bliss? No. It's not even misalignment in the yoga way. It's completely, let me choose to do my own body harm, do compulsive stuff, call it cool, and ignore all the updated information. Yes, because let's only use the psych education to weaponize and throw words at each other, and not do anything to live heaven in your body. So the hell part is from the body, not the outside. But see, here's where I have my 3-year-old with a whole heart. I don't know shame. My social system doesn't synchronize with my peers. In fact, I realized my peers, like the movies, were pretty shitty. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I know my well-being. And I know that I'm going to learn about a lot of stuff, and I'm going to live a good life, because once I'm dead, I'm dead. But up till the moment I'm living, I'm living. 4D. They think that the plane of good and evil is reality because they don't work with their nervous system as the fear arises. Oh, yes, neuroscience. They also talk about selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, and richness. That's how the brain works of those of us who channel. If only 4D would get educated versus the storytelling of the spiritual warfare stuff. They might be ahead with all of how they feel inside and life. And so, on that note, we don't pick sides. humanity, evolution, that's our side. And we get to educate ourselves and continue sharing the word. And yes, we're going to expand